stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, please?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good morning, Montezuma County. On behalf of Commissioner Tell, Commissioner Candelaria, myself, Kim Purcell, the County Administrator, Shaq Powers, and John Baxter, the County Attorney, we welcome you here. The first thing on the agenda would be the minutes from the previous week. Commissioners, any recommendations on that?
Yes, I would like to move that the proceedings of the Board of County Commissioners of Montezuma County, December 8th, 2020, be approved as presented.
Second.
Motion and a second to approve the proceedings of the Board of Montezuma County Commissioners for December 8th, 2020. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Next thing on the agenda is planning. We have a couple of Marlars, I think, to sign. Or, oh, no. Something else?
Uh-oh. She's got that white paper document.
Good morning, Commissioners.
Good morning,
Good
Don.
morning, Don.
Good morning, Jane.
Morning.
Yeah, all we have this morning is a high-impact permit and a special use permit to be signed that were approved last week.
One's on the travel load.
One on the Lowe's Travel Center and one for ComNet's replacement cell tower.
And we've approved both of those. We've done
Correct.
both those. Okay.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I'm a little disappointed. We don't have 2 hours.
Well, like I'm sitting here, so it should be at least 2 hours.
Wait until you see how long the agenda is, our special meeting on December 24th.
Your email said that you were good. Yeah, as long as you're good and those changes are good.
Especially when he makes it mandatory that all department heads are present.
Were they okay with it?
Department heads are present. And at least one of their staff,
I sent it to Mike Green after that, and he's like, oh, I'll get hold of it and look at it.
won't he?
Okay. And I never back up.
Jim's going to be here today.
Oh, Lordy.
Anything else going on in the planning department that you'd like to enlighten us with?
Oh, no, nothing out of the ordinary. We've got a couple of applicants for January right now. Just moving them through as we can get to them.
All right.
We'll have some plats pretty soon.
Okay, good. Looks like at this time we'll go to public comment. If anybody would like to comment, if you come up to the podium, state your name and address. Seeing none, we'll close public comment and we'll go to a liquor license renewal for the Double R Liquors. Good morning, Jerry.
Morning, Jerry.
Morning.
So I have a liquor license renewal for Double R Liquors LLC, 18794 Highway 491 in Lewis. We got the letter from the sheriffs and no complaints or anything against them.
Everything looks good. Huh?
Everything looks good.
Okay. I would like to move that the Board of Montezuma County Commissioners grant the Double R Liquors LLC, located at 18794 Highway 491, Lewis, Colorado, a retail liquor for license renewal.
Second.
Motion is second to approve the renewal of a liquor license for the year of 2021 for Double R Liquors at P.O. Box 96, Lewis, Colorado. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Is it right under where it says Montezuma County, Jerry?
Yeah, the only thing that's not signed there on the bottom.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. You bet.
Thank
you.
you.
Larry.
Now
You
we'll go
too.
to IT with Jim McLean from Montezuma County IT.
I'll just stand up here. Good morning, Commissioners.
Morning, Jim.
Morning, Jim. So my first thing I have is I have a MOU for you all to sign between the city and the county for this broadband.
Yeah.
It's been signed by the city, so if you guys can sign this, and then I'll give it.
Jim, can I look at it?
Did you give that to John and Jim?
It's the one that you approved.
This is
That's all, I just wanted to make sure,
going to
yeah.
partner or an MOU with the city to get high-speed
the
internet
high-
down to
Correct.
M&M. Yeah.
Yes, and so
Love's, we're gonna start calling it
Excuse me, at
Love's.
Love's new truck stop
Love.
and
Yeah.
convenience, yeah. there
So
you go.
one of the things that came out of this is, obviously, it
John,
was
can you
coming
put that
up
on the
with,
Elmo just for a second?
with a way to make sure that we're leveraging what the city has too, right? They have to be able to put into this. And so one of the things they're offering up and they're going to supply to us is the use of their grant writer for this, because there is some grant funding out there. We had a meeting last week with the COG and with some other parties involved, and we have another one tomorrow, which will include Virgil from Region 9. He's the one that has the say in whether or not DOLA dishes out any money for broadband. It's, he's kind of their consultant, their outside consultant, and if he gives his blessing, then usually they give it to us.
Wow.
But we can leverage some funds for this, so, hopefully we won't have to take on the entire construction cost ourselves. And it
No,
allows us.
absolutely, we're not gonna take the
Well,
whole cost on
we're-
ourselves.
We're
Yeah.
not, we're
Right,
not.
yeah.
But it also is going to open up the ability for us to get it down to the airport
Yeah.
with some funding that's out there.
Which that's an ace in the pocket of the city of Cortez.
So we're gonna work with DOLA.
Yeah.
And we're also gonna be working with CDOT to leverage some of their, because they're really desperate to get some high-speed down there. And we're pulling the tribe into this because they got a lot of money handed to them to come back up to Cortez. So hopefully
The more
when
the
this
merrier.
is, hopefully we can get this done now.
Yeah, yeah.
So that's kind of.
But our first and primary goal is to get it to
Of
the
course it
intersection
is.
of G and 491.
That is correct.
Okay.
Correct, and I
Yeah,
had
and I-
stated that along with Jim in that meeting that we had last week, that we're not gonna wait, we're not going to get handcuffed by
Waiting on some other
any other
entity.
partner that has
Yeah.
to have some kind of an additional study
Right, right.
for anything farther south, because our main focus right now is to get to that intersection
Amen.
of G and 491.
Yeah.
That is correct.
Good, good.
So
good.
we're not, we have momentum now, we've got this thing cleaned up. We can actually get service down there and
Yeah.
get things moving
Yeah.
if we continue our momentum and don't lose it.
And look at the businesses that are gonna benefit coming all the way down that
Correct.
491 corridor. There's a lot of different entities that are
Yeah,
gonna
correct.
benefit by that fiber going down there,
So we
not
did
just the
set,
Loves.
we set a goal and an end date on when this has to be built and in place. And
Good.
so we're gonna stick with that one way or the other. And,
Good.
it just comes down to they can all work together and accomplish this goal.
Yeah.
Or we're gonna go on without them one way or another. It's going to get built.
So the next step would be an RFP, or?
Well, they're putting together so two different routes. One we can bore, or one we can actually, the city has a pole agreement
They have a pole attachment
With-
agreement.
EEA, so that it could actually go from 7th Street, somewhere in that area south, if you hang it, so that the boring, because once you start going off that
That
hill, you
rock.
get into a lot of rock.
I remember that sanitation, when they did that sewer line down through there, they had that rock they had to
So
cut
they're
from the end.
putting
Wow.
together basically, which is gonna be the most cost effective, and then we'll have the RFP. So the end date that I placed on it was July.
July, good.
I said that gives us enough time to get the plan put together, to get it executed, and to get it built. So it's just a matter of, here again, like I said, we have momentum, and I don't wanna stop by
Worrying
stopping.
about something way on beyond outside
Correct.
of the realm of what we're trying to accomplish here.
Right.
And that's to get that, yeah.
Yeah,
So-
we had a Zoom meeting with the engineer on Friday obviously, if we're gonna get an engineer, we have to get an engineer involved, especially if we're gonna go aerial, because it has to be engineered.
Right.
Because Empire Electric, even if we can get on those poles, they're not gonna allow us on there at all until there's an engineered design that's done, so so that's gonna cost us, but what we're trying to put together now is just a budget of this preliminary the engineering side of things, whether we go boring, whether we go half boring and partial aerial, we just have to get that put together. And we're hoping to have that budget in place, which is what this MOU allows us to put together now. And then we'll have something to present to you guys very shortly, because the MOU also puts you in charge of this, not the city. We are spearheading this.
Yep.
So you guys get to approve the RFPs, you get to approve the budgets, you have the say in how it gets handled.
I recollect that when the city did that for Osprey, that there was we ran into some problems with the height of the poles, because it has to be, I wonder if we're gonna run into that same
Maybe.
thing.
Never know.
You know, we don't know until we get down there and start engineering it and find out what we're up against.
Right. But these are pretty, I mean, that line is pretty vacant. There's not a lot.
No, there's not a lot going south on those poles other than Empire stuff. There's
Right,
not,
there
you
might
know,
be
they're
a
not loaded with
phone
cables
line
or
cable
cables
TV
or
or
any of
something,
that
but
stuff.
it's
I don't want to sound like a pessimist, but it could be by the time we get to that, they need every one of those poles replaced to call it a hunch.
That's why the engineering will actually
That's
show
what
that.
the engineering will
can't-
tell us.
That's
Yeah,
negative
you're not-
thinking, Mr. Powers, and I'm not really appreciative of that this morning.
No, I'm trying to be completely optimistic about this. That's why we're doing the engineering, because if we cannot go aerial, then we'll bore it.
Sure.
It'll be what it'll
Correct.
be.
We have two different modes, and we have a couple of different routes, and the
There's
focus
more-
is to get to
More
that
than-
intersection.
More than one way to skin this cat.
That's right.
Yeah.
So I did send this to you guys also after John had looked it
Yeah.
over. So
Mhm.
I would move that we accept the MOU between the Cortez Community Network Enterprise and Montezuma County.
Second.
Motion and a second to approve the MOU for the Avona. Between this Cortez Community Network Enterprise and Montezuma County. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Good. Keep them moving. Keep 'em
We are
moving.
gonna keep it
Yeah.
moving.
I'm sure Loves will be real tickled to see
Oh, yeah.
what we're,
Yeah, there's no
trying to
doubt in my
provide
mind.
for
And
'em.
this really does open up so many
Yeah.
possibilities
Yeah.
once we get down there. The funding that's available to continue on from there, yeah, I mean, the world's wide open.
and hopefully someday we can do something on the west side of that stinking highway, and that CDOT, CDOT needs to take responsibility for what they did over there. And I'll tell you, I've tried for years to get them to own up what they did when they condemned those businesses over there and didn't do a damn thing with them, and sit there and let them rot. And now I think Mr. Backstrom must own them, or somebody does, and they just sit there and, I mean, they're as bad in their own right as M&M was on the other side of the road. And we get to thank CDOT for that.
I would like to think that Love's is gonna do something similar to the way Walmart makes things happen and some other things. I think once Love's goes in and that starts to clean up, you'll start seeing other things build around it.
Yeah.
Which is another reasoning it's so important to get this down there, because then we'll have the ability to feed them.
Expand it, yeah,
So,
yeah.
yeah, I mean,
I hear you. Well,
other
this-
than that, I mean, we're just moving on. I'm still working on my second VX rail to get it ready for farmers. That was I don't even know how to, I got the delivery about 3 weeks ago from RAC with my VX rail stuff, but it was only half there. And they even wrote on their bill, missing one pallet. I've been trying for 3 weeks now to figure out where it's at, because I can't finish building this thing. Dell's working on it, everybody's working on it. I called RAC and they just told me they didn't have time to talk to me, so, which kind of frustrated me. I do have everybody working on it. It's like, come on, guys. This is not rocket science. Get me my stuff.
Has there been any discussions with the Mountain Ute tribe to come the other direction, to hook them up?
That's one of
Yes.
the conversations, we're starting to open that conversation up, so, yes.
That, apparently, it sounds like from the meeting that I attended, that's been going on now for a while. That conversation has been happening prior to us. But with this happening, it's just one step closer.
it's another leg down there that
Right.
wasn't there before.
And then it creates that redundancy too that everybody talks about.
Correct.
But, like
That
I
could
said,
be a
our
win-win
focus,
for all. This
it
could be a win-win-win.
huge
for-
win.
oh, man, huge.
But for our focus for us is to hit that point.
Yep.
And that's why I was very clear, is that we're not gonna wait, and I want this done by July.
Yeah,
So-
and whatever happens south of there, we'll certainly
Well,
work and encourage and do everything we
Absolutely.
can, but our
Correct.
goal is to get to GN 491, and that's the immediate.
But it does change everything if we can get to there,
It
Well, sure
does change
sure it does,
everything.
But we gotta get there first, we gotta get there.
and we will get there.
Okay.
Other than that, we just keep chugging along, right? I mean, just do our thing, just trying to get stuff done.
Freezing your butt out in the parking lot every morning.
Yeah, we have a new camera system in downstairs to compensate for hopefully the remodel that's gonna happen for the lobby. So that's already been installed, it's ready, it's done. We got ahead of the game on that one.
Good.
And I have the stuff ordered for the doors and that kind of stuff, so as soon as we start building that, we'll be rocking and rolling on it too, so. We have the door reader for the fairgrounds, we just gotta go down there and figure out how we're gonna do that exactly, so.
Good.
And that's
Stay
about
right on it, man.
anything else?
I can't think
Thank you
of
for
it,
the
Jim.
update, Jim.
Thanks, Jim.
Thanks, Jim.
Thanks,
Thank you.
thanks for the way you keep this county up on its IT, bud. Thank you.
We'll go to Shane Hickman for the county vehicle maintenance department. Good morning, Shane.
Morning, Shane.
So I just figured today I'd bring kind of an update of what we had kind of done over the year in the fleet aspect of things. The road department sold stuff is on there, and this is kind of one of my general forms to show the auditor at the end of the year what we sold and what we still have.
Mm-hmm.
So you can kind of disregard those.
You've been moving stuff around, bud.
Yeah.
Yeah, you've been cleaning that up.
That's that's one thing I'm kind of proud of over there is that the resurfacing of some stuff, trying to get all the life out of the county vehicles.
Yeah.
That the most recent one was that county pickup. It's a little bit older, but didn't have a lot of miles on it. It was that 2004 F-150 that you see on the there. We got the snowplow all fitted up on it that was on that. Maintenance had a pretty old Ford F-250, that square nose one. It's finally gone and updated it to a 2004, which is still over the 15-year mark, but we're slowly getting to where we can. It's not going to be an overnight thing to get everything updated.
Sure. No, you started way back in the hole, man.
Yeah.
Way back in the
We're a
hole.
long ways in the hole.
Yeah.
But we did that, and we actually got a utility box from one of the pickups from the road department, and we got that over on that pickup, so now he's doesn't have that camper shell, he's got a F-250
With a utility box on it, and
that turned out pretty good.
I see them guys out every morning, man. I mean, those two pickup trucks with the blades with those snowplows on them, they're out every morning, man. They're going good.
And, really the 2004 in that aspect, he goes, they use the brand new Dodge we bought him a lot more, so they put a lot of miles on that one. That other one they come to work, and then that one sits at the shop, and they basically go run the other one around, so it only gets like 3,000 miles a year on it, so
Yeah.
the 2004.
Long, yeah. Yeah.
The other thing we did this year was, wasn't really a fleet thing, but we got the landfill a back truck out of one of the old road department back trucks that we retired. We're taking we bought those two new transports at the beginning of the year for the road department. We took one of those transports and we're putting the back things on it to update the road department fleet. But in that respect, we've got that down to the landfill to help them out. They had that old Mack, it wasn't a back truck, it took a long time to load. So
Yeah.
What does the landfill use that for then? What would they?
The water truck, watering compost and dust control.
And plus with that new Carver field, hopefully they'll be using a lot more of
You
that
daggum right.
water too. And I'm not sure if they're going to continue to use that or set up a water system, but
Sprinkler system, maybe they may do a sprinkler
if it's,
system down there.
if it gets big enough.
Yeah. Hopefully it'll get big enough to require that.
we did set them up with that.
Good.
And then you see the other ones we kind of moved around. And there's a few more to move around by the end of the year. Rod's new pickup came in yesterday. I went and picked it up at True West. And that's the one we're taking Rod's pickup and taking it.
Leslie.
Getting on to it.
So
So
then
the
she's got,
assessor ought to be in good shape.
she's
That
got
ought to
all,
put an end to her
she'll have
problem.
all three.
Nicest
all three
vehicles,
units.
that's right, yeah, they come over here crying and whining, and they end up with the best stuff in the whole county.
She should be in pretty good shape now.
Well, but they're out there doing
They need-
stuff that
they
that
need to get
benefits,
there.
yeah. Oh, yeah,
They
they
need to
need
get
to
there.
get around. I'm here to tell you, they'll pay it off. They'll pay it off by
Yeah,
getting,
we have their trailblazer over at the shop right now getting tires and getting it and going, so they should be really set on vehicles.
yeah, they should.
And we'll get that one transferred over there at the end of the month probably. We gotta get Rob's all set up with lights. We get it transferred over there. But, you know, other than that, we sold a bunch of high mileage stuff and stuff that was just dead. So, under the sold and pending. Everything that we purchased there, and it ended up being a grand total of that $274,000. And then I didn't have what we had to spend on the local services. They're 20% of every vehicle they bought, and it should have been under that 300,000.
But, yeah.
Okay. But other than that, I don't. About all we had, I think.
Well, Shane, you're moving the right direction with this, and I'm kind of tickled that our fleet department's kind of turned out to be what it is, hooked up with you and the road department. I think it's a real good marriage, and what we were trying to keep them separate there for a while, this looks like a much more workable system, and you can run the shop and everything there, and it looks like another 3 or 4 years, you'll have our fleet in this county up to, so it'll be a whole different cat.
I sure hope so.
And,
If
yeah,
we can keep up with the replacing like we did this
You
year, we
bet.
should be,
yeah,
probably another 2 or 3 years, we should be in a really good spot.
good spot, yeah.
Yeah,
with
because
the
I
county
think
fleet.
you first said that it would be about 4 years, and we're almost, and
And it's
With
a
this
slow
year,
process, so that's
3
why I
years.
don't know that we'll have as much of the resurfacing once we get it all panned out, but right now, you just gotta take something that has low miles and get it to somebody who can use it, because we still have these vehicles, these 95 model Fords running around out there, so.
Oh,
we
yeah,
just-
yeah.
And you can't even buy parts for those.
Can't find the parts for them, that's right, man. You'd come to a place where you can't even service them if you wanted to.
So, yeah, it'll be good in a few more years here.
Yeah,
But other than that, I appreciate you guys working with me, and
yeah. Well,
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
appreciate you
Appreciate
doing a
it,
good
Shane.
job,
Yes.
Shane, thank you.
Is Mike,
He's tied up. I'm getting texts from him, so we'll just do Doug and Rachel
all
now.
right, so we'll go, we're gonna skip over grounds and maintenance right now. He's pretty busy, and we're gonna go to GIS mapping with Doug Roth and Rachel. Yeah. Good morning, guys.
Good morning, Rachel, good morning, Doug.
Which one do you want to start with?
Let's start with the one that, statistics. There's two PDFs from today. There we go. I'm going to let Rachel speak mostly about a couple of things we've been working on today. One thing that I did notice when we've been looking at the statistics for a GIS viewer this year, I've presented this in the past. It's pretty interesting for whatever it means. And this is our main GIS viewer, and this is the activity that's hitting this viewer. So whatever type of a person is looking up, trying to get that information on the community, whether it's looking for a home, looking for a business, these are the stats we have for the past 5 years, going from 20,000 to 31,000. A big leap from 2018 into 2019 of 10,000, but we've had an almost 20,000 viewer leap
yeah.
this year. So, I mean, that tells me something. Draw whatever conclusions you want to. I was pretty surprised when I saw those numbers.
Somebody's out there shopping in Montezuma County. They're looking.
Shopping.
They're shopping.
I think that's the biggest thing. The people that I talk to and have told them about this, you actually have pretty good data and the information
Oh, cripe, yeah.
to actually
They can go.
find somebody. So I think it is shopping. I think that's
You
part of
better
that urban flight, that people are looking and they can look at it from
And I'll tell you what,
wherever
on
they're
our
at.
GIS, you can look, you can see, you can get a lot of information about a piece of property off of your GIS stuff there. I mean, a lot of information. And,
click on it, you get to it, you
Yeah.
get the tax records, and
Oh,
then
yeah.
of course you can now actually, you can go to the treasurers and you can click on it and see your tax bill and what's
Taxes.
been paid or not, and what's predicted to be your taxes next year, so
Yeah.
it's good stuff.
No, I'll tell you what, I think you guys have done a wonderful job of getting that thing so well prepared and set up so that there's so much information there, and then you can do from topography, I mean, the whole 9 yards. You can really look a piece of property over there and find out what it's about.
And it's user-friendly.
I
Yeah.
believe that talking to people that have researched multiple counties, that we have one of the best GIS in the state of Colorado.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And
And I would
that-
agree.
and
leave it
that's
at
you
that.
too, and that's you too, and good.
One thing that we did add last week, it was pretty interesting. James did this research for some of the old maps as he was researching some of the old historic roads, I'm sure we'll talk about here later, is he had collected and georeferenced a lot of the old 1882 GLO, Government Land Office maps. And we made that available as a map layer to our GIS viewer because I thought it was so interesting. This is when they started sectioning off sections of land.
Right.
So you can go into our GIS viewer and turn that on and see those original GLO maps. So
I have a feeling that Mr. Atwater's very familiar with some of that stuff too.
yeah, we may have gotten them from Dennis. Yeah. And then I'll just say, one other thing that we did work on a little bit last Friday is started an inventory of some of the what appeared to be unutilized or underutilized or just plain commercial buildings down in that Road G Blue Door area.
Oh, yeah.
This is going to tie into the fiber project that Jim was talking about, because then you have to plan out what your high valued areas that you want to connect to, and that goes into the engineering and planning aspect of it, because there are some great buildings down there. Go from the triad ones to some of the oil and gas service buildings.
Yeah, the leftovers from back in the 60s of where Superior Oil was and Dowwell, and there's
Yeah.
some
I mean,
really,
talk about great
Good,
infrastructure.
yeah.
And
good
so-
properties. not Kinder Morgan, but Nielsen's and all down there, yeah.
Over the Nielsen's, yeah. So really good
Yeah,
talking about that.
Great corridor.
Yeah, it's a
Great
fantastic area, and looking at those opportunities can help you determine where you want to phase out that infrastructure.
No, it's going to be a perfect, if we can get that and take it to the airport, then that's going to make a commercial zone down there for development, both east and west, from that 491 intersection. It's going to be a great industrial or commercial development, redevelopment area down there.
Warehousing, you name it, it's
Yeah,
fantastic.
absolutely. It's a win-win-win.
And some properties big enough that you can actually do something with.
Absolutely.
And if we start like funneling businesses down there and have the internet available, it might revitalize.
You're right,
that
Rachel.
area.
It'll give it a heck of a lot better chance than it's got right now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, heck of a lot better, yeah.
Definitely. Okay.
Good deal.
So then a project that I've been working on is the Jim Spratlin, the emergency manager, requested wildfire risk maps. So this one is using like data we've been using for a long time, like CORAP data, which is created by
State of Colorado.
the state of Colorado. But Brad Petruska from who does fire work for the U.S. Forest Service directed me to a different source for wildfire risk data that's put together by the USDA Forest Service, which seemed to actually match what's out in our community. It was a better model. So the other map would be SHAC, fire risk to structures. So there's two, open both. Okay, so this is the county-wide one. And it just displays like all the fires that have happened since 2000, where they've done prescribed burns, and and then it just highlights where our highest risk area are. So then, Shaq, do you see the other file? It's also titled like fire risk. So then what I did for each fire protection district is like kind of zoom in on their district, and then I showed, you know, producing oil and gas wells, towers, electric poles, basically anything that's at risk out there.
Wow.
And kind of totaled those numbers up. So it's kind of hard to see in the map because everything like overlaps, but I also put like a count in the legend so that people can see, you know, how many structures there are in their fire district, and kind of where they're laid out. So I can't, you know, I sent these maps out to everyone I would think that would, you know, that's relevant, that would find use in these maps. But with the data overlapping like that, we can do some models that kind of show just like where all those values are in higher concentrations, you know, like do density.
Did you send this, Rachel, to the fire departments?
I send it to all the fire departments, the Forest Service, BLM, all the town managers, and I'm trying to think who else. Dwarf, Wildfire Adapted. I don't know what Rebecca Smolsky, but her as well. But yeah, so I think this just shows that we still have areas that are really high risk that could burn, you know, and just kind of what's at risk in our community. It was a fun project though, so.
Fire departments ought to really take this to heart and put that, especially within their districts. They'll know gives them an excellent map of where the structures are, where things are potentially of loss of more than just grass and trees and whatever, where you've got structure danger.
And that's what this model showed. It was
Yeah.
like, it was weighing, you know, like where are homes?
Right.
Because the original CORAB data had, you know, like the backside of Mesa Verde as the highest risk. Well, there's no one really living there.
Yeah, right.
You
Some
know?
wild horses and a few wild cows, about all that's out there, yeah.
Right. So, yeah, what we
Yeah.
want to know is like where are homes?
Right, where homes and outbuildings and all that are. That's good.
Yeah,
That's good.
fine. Good job.
Yeah, and I'm really excited when Rachel spearheaded this and talked to Brad and found that data, because this is actually really the first model that really makes sense.
Yeah.
And it really makes sense.
Absolutely.
Computer models can obviously have
Yeah.
some issues. We all know that, but this one's a great one. So.
Yeah. And in Shaq, if you just scroll, it just shows it. I made it like a several page PDF.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, there you
So yeah, you can see
Yeah.
like
Well-
Dolores and up near there is probably the highest risk because that's where all our pines are, and there's areas that haven't seen a fire in a while and haven't had any prescribed burns yet.
Yeah, that's,
Yeah.
Shaq's moving so damn fast, I can't keep track.
Well, and the lowest risk is either where there's really no vegetation or our farmlands, you know.
And one thing we notice is that just because you're in town doesn't mean there's no risk. Some of those models said they just blanked out the urban areas. Well, we know that's not true. Just ask people in Oregon.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
there's potential risk on everything on Detroit, Apple,
Yeah, down there.
Colfax, all of those with that canyon coming up, because it's an uphill grade through that canyon and then all the way up to Mesa School. Basically, that entire area is
Sure.
is-
Everything that borders Hartman Draw.
yeah,
all
densely
that.
densely wooded.
And then the planning department, you know, will use the countywide map to help, you know, when the development comes through and they have to do the fire mitigation plan, they'll use this data to determine whether people can, you know, use an affidavit to not have to do that or
Right.
along with
So it's
fire
one step to make it quicker for the people that are actually trying
Trying to
to
do some
move forward with it.
development.
and it'd be more realistic to our community.
Yeah, good on you, Rachel. Good job.
Do you know if Bonnie has a map of weed infestations throughout the county?
She
I
does.
think she has it
She
mapped.
does.
Yep.
Yeah, she's
Yeah.
got tamarisk, she's got Russian olive, she's got noxious weeds, A, B, C, and D list. I mean, she's got it all mapped out. And
So between this
Oh,
map now
those-
and her map, we've kind of made it a lot quicker for people with their weed certification and now with their, if they have to have a fire mitigation plan, to make it
Yeah.
just one step better for them, anybody that's trying to
Well,
move forward with
and they
something.
can do a bunch of this stuff on the front end instead of getting involved in it in the middle of it and saying, oh, now I got to do all that. They can look at it and see what needs to be done on the front end going into it. Yeah, that,
Better planning.
Good job.
absolutely.
We do need to add this to the planning map, this data layer, so they have direct access to it. That's one task.
That's a good
And then-
idea.
And we always debate whether or not to put this on the public view or not, and I think we probably should. Because this isn't the end all be all. The end all be all is you standing on your property and going out and looking,
Sure.
and surveying.
That's- oh,
This
absolutely.
will clue you in, get you close, and then you do that
Good
side.
job.
Absolutely.
We need to.
I don't know.
Is that on Zoom?
I think it was Commissioner Sukla.
I didn't know you were a ventriloquist, Larry Don. Sent that all the way down to Shack, didn't you? Yeah. Well, you guys continue to do a fantastic job in your department, and
Yeah.
the
Well, we
county
were-
and the residents of this county, I think by the 66,000 views, and I know those aren't everybody in the, those are people outside our county, or what a great window for them to come take a look and see if they may want to come out here and visit us, or come build with
stay.
us, or come live with us. That's exactly
Come
right.
stay.
So you guys are making that awfully inviting for them, so.
Thanks. It helps that we enjoy what we do, so.
Yeah, that always makes it better, doesn't it? Yeah.
It does.
Yeah. Well, it shows you both enjoy what you do. Yeah. Or you wouldn't get this good of stuff.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, thank you guys.
Appreciate you guys, thank you.
Jack,
So I'll give Mike's update, which should be next, but let me just read it off here. They got the plumbing inspection passed at the fairgrounds, and
Great.
they're continuing on that. The roof at Annex 3 is underway. They didn't have any leaks last week during
Did-
the snow. So that
Shaq,
was
on,
good.
on that, we thought that there would be a reduction in cost in re-roofing that Annex 3 by them not having to take off the old membrane.
Correct, and I filled out everything but the reduction in cost on the change order and sent that to Jim.
And I'll follow up with him. He sent me
Okay.
a text saying that he was setting trusses up the river somewhere and wouldn't be
Okay.
back in town before Monday, so I
All
will
right.
follow up on
All
that
right,
today.
good,
Because
good.
the change order is ready.
Yeah,
It's just a matter of
putting the dollar.
what number goes in there.
Good.
The EV charger at Annex 1 is fully operational, and we're finishing the closeout report on that. And that's it from maintenance.
That's great, they got
And they
the,
moved all the snow that was on the sidewalk.
do you know what that cost, to the county itself for the charger?
Yeah, we paid a little over, or a little under 13,000 up front, and the state of Colorado is reimbursing us 9,000. So a little less than 4,000 cost to the county.
good.
And hopefully that gets some tourists through here that may not otherwise come through here, and they can spend some money on Main
I
Street while
think
they're
this summer
here.
you'll see that thing get, I've watched that one out there by the visitor center, and all summer long, that thing had a car backed up to it. I mean, every time I went by there, there was a car backed up.
There's one hooked
plugged
onto it this morning
Was
because
there?
I looked over there
Yeah.
to see.
Yeah. So I think we'll, as that goes on, because you know, you've got an app on your phone that shows you all the charging stations all throughout whatever state you're in or whatever town you're in, and get this one listed as a double charging station up there. I'll bet we'll see it getting used this summer. Really good, yeah.
And it's actually a lot closer walking distance. to
Oh, the
really
Main Street than out there at the Visitor
At the
Center,
Visitor
absolutely,
Center.
much more centrally located, yeah.
Yeah,
It's quite a
I
bit
think it'll be
closer.
beneficial to our businesses,
Yeah.
so.
Yeah.
I don't see public lands here yet, however, I do have Ed Millard on Zoom.
Okay.
Well, then why don't
They
we?
usually don't come in until 10 o'clock,
Right.
usually, right?
Yeah, that's about right. Oh, go ahead.
Should we go ahead with this?
With Ed?
Sure.
Let's go ahead with Ed. Ed, good morning. Can you hear us?
There's Ken Curtis, too. Ed, are you out there?
If you are, can you unmute your phone? It's showing you being muted.
Whoa, he just split.
What does that mean, flipped?
He just split. Now there's two of them.
He's connecting something.
He's got both a phone and a computer on or something like that.
Ed, can you
If
hear
we're
us?
lucky, we'll get some good reverb out of that once he has the phone and the computer going.
I like those reverbs.
Ken, are you out there? Can you get us, Ken?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, good.
They're working with
We're waiting on Ed to hook up.
that.
Yeah,
Good morning, Ken.
Good morning.
commissioners, Shaq.
Good morning, Ken.
Looks like it says he's connected to the audio, so. Anyway, what this topic is it's concerning demand management, and, there it is.
There he is. Morning, Ed.
Good morning. You caught me by surprise.
We catch you in the shower, did we, man?
All right, well, good morning, Ed.
Good morning. Thank you so much for giving me time. I'm Ed Millard. I represent Montezuma County on the Southwest Roundtable, on the Colorado Interbasin Compact Committee. I probably should share some slides, so if Shaq could let me share on the PC I just logged in, that would be helpful.
Okay, give me just a second on that.
Just give us just one moment. Eddie's working on it.
For some context, there was an op-ed written December 13th, I saw it Sunday morning, to the Colorado Sun by Russell George, who's the current Commissioner or Director of the Interbasin Compact Committee I'll represent you on, and John Stolp, who was the former IBCC Commissioner and Director. And in that op-ed, they basically advocated that we need to start an accelerated collaborative effort to start demand management in Colorado due to the ongoing drought. They made some statements that were somewhat controversial and seemed to be somewhat targeted at us, so I distributed it widely. And I talked to Ken and others and you guys one-on-one, and we are working towards possibly doing an op-ed to the Colorado Sun, if they will take it, to rebut some of the things that they said. And if I can bring it up, I will, but I'm still not able to share. Did you share that second computer?
You should be able to share now.
You must have done the wrong one because it still says it's disabled. I got two logins because I need to use my phone on my computer for this, so.
Oh, well, the red EM is host now, so well, I guess that's your phone. How do I make you unhost?
Yeah. Well, I can unhost. Hold on. But I don't know how to do that on my phone.
You could hang up your phone and I'll put it all to your computer.
Okay, we'll lose video, but that's fine. I just have to switch headphones. I'm hanging up now.
Oh, great.
No internet connection. Probably not. Using his phone and hotspot. Oh. So if he hangs it up, that's why he lost his video.
Well, this is what's great about
Technology. I think we should do everything on Zoom from here on out.
I vote no on that.
Well, you can't vote. There was no motion.
Well, you said, I think we should, and I said, I'm voting no.
We've been here long enough, it doesn't have to be stated as a motion.
Exactly right. We already know. We know how to handle this stuff.
Well, Ed, I don't know if you guys are there. We see you're in the waiting room, so Shaq's working on it. Maybe by the time we get this figured out, we'll have public lands here. Do we need to get somebody, Shaq, that a little more knowledgeable about electronics, or?
No, I think they can hear us again.
Yep, Ken stuck his thumb up. Ed, how about you? Are you, can you hear us? Do we have a way to text him or
Yeah, I can text him.
text him? How do we
Yeah, I bet he
rectify
lost his
this?
hotspot.
Huh?
I bet he lost it.
Well, it looked like he was there for a second, Ed.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear you now.
Gotcha.
Okay. If I can get screen sharing, we should be good to go. Sorry for the confusion. We kind of did this at the last minute this morning, so.
Okay, try that.
Can you try
I'm
that,
out.
Ed?
I'm good. Yeah, I'm good now.
Okay, would you like to proceed then?
As soon as I get this up. Hey, can you see that?
Yeah, we can see that now.
This is the op-ed that was written, again, December 13th. I saw it in the Colorado Sun on Sunday morning, so we've been doing this kind of fast. These two pictures are Russell George and John Stoltz. They're two of the heavyweights in water in Colorado, so they're certainly have a lot of influence. Ken and I both read this article, and we took some exception to this paragraph that I've highlighted. Well, there's two paragraphs of concern in it. This is the first one, most important one. They say there are some in the water community who would like to put their heads in the sand and blame others for the problem, but neither of those options serves Colorado and all who depend on the Colorado River. Certainly they don't name us by name, but since we were the two that first opposed demand management and have been the most skeptical, DWCD has also filed a recent brief in which they have encouraged the state to slow down. So the chances are that we are certainly one of the targets for that paragraph, and we don't think it's fair. We haven't stuck our head in the sand, and in the op-ed, in fact, we will say that we have spent the last 2 years researching the issues, which I obviously have. I think we understand the problems on the Colorado River and in the law of the river probably better than, as well as, or maybe better than many in this state. We have been looking at every option that can be used to deal with this problem, and some of the most important ones are better forest management. Even if they do demand manage agriculture to try to deal with this problem, if temperatures keep going up, there could be some enormous shortfalls in the inflows into Powell. So forest management, agriculture only uses maybe 16% of the actual precipitation in the upper basin. Forests and evaporation consume 80 or 85% of it. So you can't deal with this problem unless you start looking at the forests, and we are making a lot of headway, at least on some theories and some stuff we want to start trying in forest treatments in various places to see if we can get recover stream flows from our forest. They want to focus on demand management. And you guys know what that means. They want to fallow farms and ranches, especially on the west slope. And they especially want to do it in the Dolores project from MVI, Full Service, or Ute Farms. DWCD's letter basically said slow down and be more careful. There's a myriad of problems that they have to deal with before they can do demand management. That they seem to be in a rush to do it now because obviously the drought's been somewhat of a concern in the last 2 years. Obviously there's some concern there. We're concerned too. It should be pointed out that we want to collaborate with the rest of the state on the policy that CWCB adopted less than a month ago. So it's not like we're not going to collaborate. We are. we just don't appreciate Russell George and John Stolt going to the press, saying we're sticking our heads in the sand. And the other problem here is Russell George did not consult with the rest of the IBCC before he did that. In fact, the IBCC has been largely sidelined on demand management issues most of the last year. We've done very little work, and they didn't contact us when they decided to come out. And since both of these people are IBCC chairmen, it's current and former directors, we don't think it's appropriate that they did this without consultation with the rest of us. So we just have a myriad of problems with this.
Can I ask you a question?
Sure.
Why do you think that Russell George and John, why demand management is their number one priority versus other options?
It's easy.
It's easy. It's not easy, but it looks easy.
It's easy grab. They can do that, and they can grab that ag water and get that ag water into the river and head it down to Lake Powell quicker than any other way they can do it. It's the low-hanging fruit for trying to get water into a Lake Powell bank.
And speaking of bank, the potable water in Phoenix and Vegas and Los Angeles sells for a lot more than ag water.
Absolutely.
You may be able to follow the money.
All right, continue.
Well, at this point, we're not allowed to sell water to the lower basin. Article 3A forbids it, but those barriers are collapsing. I think I would probably rather sell our water to Arizona for a large payoff rather than the pretty mediocre money that they're proposing for demand management. I mean, you might make some money, it'll be okay, but it won't be worth the price we'll have to pay in following our fields and ranches. So,
yeah, Ed, I think you're right. If we're gonna do anything in demand management and fallowing water and fallowing fields and stuff, you're right. Selling it to Arizona is a much better place than what they're proposing.
One of the key points is Colorado simply doesn't have the money to pay for this right now. If the federal government gives the states a big COVID payout, maybe that will change. We might get money from the Bureau or somewhere else, but the strings that are attached to that and the precedent that would come from getting federal money to shut down our farms and ranches is just not worth the risk. So I can't vouch for their motives, but Russell George has been pretty much a demand management advocate since I started this 2 years ago. I talked to him when he was on the CWCB when this started, and I told him about Section 603, and he asked me, where are you going to go with this? I told him, well, you know where I'm going to go with this, because Section 603 is our primary defense here. So,
absolutely.
It's also true that the establishment position is pro-demand management. I mean, politically, probably everybody on the Front Range wants to do it. So there are a lot of people that are agreeing with it in public just because it's the safe, career-safe thing and politically safe thing to do. I've talked to certainly a number of people on the West Slope that don't like the idea, dislike it, but they won't say so publicly because they're afraid of what the retribution is. I don't have a career in this water bureaucracy. If it doesn't last forever, I don't care. I'm not getting paid to do this job. I'm doing it because I think it's right. So I'm one of the few people that's in a position where I can actually speak out. So that's what I've been doing. And somebody needs to, because there are two sides to the story.
Yes, you do, Ed. And Ed, we're very grateful that you've done and taken the stances and the positions you've taken, because you've opened our eyes and a lot of other people's eyes to it's kind of like the vote on the wolf. There are a lot of people out there control our lives more than we do here in our own little county, and I'm forever grateful for you for investigating and finding out things and giving us information about this water situation in Montezuma County that we'd have never have known about, and you're doing a stellar job of representing us.
You are exactly right. The people living in all these huge cities on the Front Range have no clue what the implications of reintroducing wolves are to livestock and people who live in these areas. So one of my future initiatives, I may be trying to start a petition to reintroduce grizzly bears on the Front Range, and I hope you'll support me when that time comes.
Amen. Amen. Well, Ed, I think your op-ed for the Sun, and I read that same article in the Sun before you let me know about it, and I felt the very same. I felt that Russell George had no business speaking for the IB. It's like him and John Stolt out there speaking for the whole IBC board. Absolutely inappropriate for him to be making those statements about about us and them and whomever, because I don't think the board ever voted to put him out there as their spokesman for that. And I think your rebuttal, I think your number 2 revised rebuttal is absolutely perfect. And I'm going to tell you, if the Sun doesn't run that, I'm going to contact their editor and tell them what a bunch of lily-livered chicken liberals I think they are for not looking at the other side of an issue. And I think you should run it right to them.
Well, I'm going to cancel my subscription if they don't, so.
Well, yeah.
That'll show them. That $60 will show them.
That's okay, but you wrote an absolutely beautiful rebuttal, and Mr. George and Mr. Stope will probably be very verklempt when they read your rebuttal, or they should be.
I should give you a status on where we're at. Well, I should read this one part. This is one of the things I'm going to rebut. It's very important. They say Colorado is also tied to the other Colorado River Basin states, tribal nations in Mexico, all of which depend on this river as much as we do. Well, actually, they depend on it more than we do, because they take a lot more water out of it. And there's a lot of cities that are totally dependent on it in the Southwest. While we have inherited a complex set of legal rules that govern water allocation and management in the basin, we also, here's the big part, we are also the beneficiaries of several decades of cooperative actions to find mutually agreeable adjustments to those rules that benefit the basin as a whole. And I am going to highlight a paper, law review paper that was written by Gunther and Schiffer from Arizona in 2006, where they outlined exactly what they did in 2005 to get the concessions they got into the 2007 interim guidelines. It was not cooperative. They basically threatened litigation unless they got more water, and the upper basin did not want to risk taking it to the Supreme Court, so we basically rolled over for them.
Yeah.
We got an agreement that might get us less water out of Lake Powell soon. We've been losing 9 million acre feet out of Lake Powell for most of the time since the interim guidelines. Right. And if we had not lost all that additional water, Lake Powell would not be in the shape that it's in. Lake Mead would have crashed a long time ago, and there would have been shortages a lot longer.
And Lake Mead should have crashed a long time ago because the lower basin's overusing their water allocations. And here the upper basin states we're not even getting what the 1922 agreement allows us, 7.5 million acre feet. We're not even using that. So here they want us to start sacrificing when we're not even getting our allotment from the 22 agreement, and they're wanting the upper basin to sacrifice more. It's just insanity. It's insane what they're wanting us to do. And I can't believe the people in this state, guys like Russell George and Stope and them think we ought to be doing this. I think they're so damn far wrong.
Well, a couple points. One point is the most vocal demand manager cheerleaders, which are Stope, George, Paul Brochet. They're massively advancing their political careers and their power in the state because they are cheerleading for it. It's extremely politically popular. Stope and Brochet and Hawkins and Jeffrey Pitt have all received WECO awards at their award dinners. So if you're advocating vocally for demand management, you're getting awards for it. So there's a political reason to do it.
Well, Ed, you and I both know, I think, given the state of Colorado's budgetary crisis and shortfalls, I guess it's a very left-handed gift that they're not going to be able to do this even if they wanted to. They don't have the money to do it. So I guess on a left-handed way, it's going to knock them out of this demand management because they aren't going to have, with a $3 billion shortfall in their state budget or something of that amount.
They're getting closer to 4.
Closer to 4, so they're not going to have money to throw at us, thank God.
Well, I wouldn't rest easy on that because I said the new stimulus COVID relief bill in Congress is talking about sending some money to the states. Certainly probably not enough to fill that hole, but I wouldn't be surprised if they tried to peel $10 million off of it to do this.
I really want to see them put lipstick on that COVID money to find a way to make it fit demand management from a COVID standpoint.
I'll tell you what.
That's already been done. I can tell you how Celine did it to me in the summer.
COVID, we may have to turn the Rico Dome into the Rico Pit and pull some of that metal out of there and pay for some of this.
I can tell you a way that Celine already told me that they are linked, and it's not in Colorado, but it's the Navajo Reservation. I talked to her last summer when we were having some difficulties with the roundtable. I didn't know at the time, but she's working on the projects to put domestic water pipelines to the Navajo reservations in New Mexico and Arizona and Utah. And she was really, really vocal that it is a social justice and a COVID health safety issue that they don't have running water in their homes so that they can wash as regularly as we do. I see the value in that, although I'm just a little bit concerned that Celine is working in these other states to do it. But there is actually a number of social environmental justice issues that are involved here. And you do need to be aware that those cases, that those arguments do carry a lot of weight in the current political environment in Colorado and the nation. So we do need to be careful. It is certainly possible that they may scrounge up some money from the NGOs, the Walton Family Foundation, the Gates Foundation has contributed, or from the federal government. The Bureau could just say, we're going to give you $2 billion and give you to do this demand management thing. So we shouldn't rest easy on the fact that they don't have money right now. They know they don't have any money, so I don't know why they're pushing this right now, because they don't have any money to spend on more pilots. But I would think that they must think they do, or they wouldn't be pushing this as hard as they are right now.
Well, Ed, I'm going to give you my support, and I think the other commissioners will talk about this, but I think your op-ed number 2 rebuttal to the Russell George and Stope commentary in the Sun, I think we need to get you to publish that and get that sent to the Sun as a op-ed rebuttal to their statements in that article that the Sun ran.
Well, I won't go over the details of the op-ed. I just wanted to say the next step, once I get approval, is I need to email the Sun and tell them I have a op-ed and make sure that they're at least willing to read it and consider running it, and see if I could run over the word cap.
Yeah.
They do have a 900 word cap, but obviously I'm talking about a lot of deep issues, so I might get a little bit of leeway on
tell them
that.
you've got more information than 900 words will allow, and you expect them to run it because it's the truth.
Well, wasn't
I'm also
the article more than 900 words?
Yes. The
was
Russell
pretty
George
short.
and Stope was larger than 900, wasn't it, Ed?
I wouldn't think so. It wasn't really that long. I haven't counted it.
Yeah,
That's not a big deal. I mean, I just need to get your okay after you discussed it, to communicate to them and tell them that we do have an op-ed coming. The other thing is I'm trying to line up more people to support it. I have a number of people, I won't name them, that are reviewing it, some of them north of here. And I want to let Ken talk briefly, because he has also had concerns about it, and he does have approval from his board to start looking at these issues. So
Ken,
the last thing I want to say here is, I find silver linings in everything, and when I read this, I said, oh my gosh, this is manna from heaven for me, because you want to know what's happening? I'm getting more people listening to my arguments than I ever had before.
There you go, Ed. There's always something good come from something bad. Attaboy. I like the way you look at things. Way to go.
I haven't gone public with this because it's confrontational. It makes people angry at me and everyone else. They did it, so now I have a reason to do it, and that's just it. I am really hoping I can get Governor Polis, Attorney General Weiser, the legislature, and all of these people that aren't listening to us to look at this. If there's
They kicked the hornet's nest first, didn't they, Ed? So you go get them.
If they try to keep us from publishing it, I'm going to go Barbara Streisand effect on it, and hopefully I'll get even more coverage if they're censoring it. So anyway, I'm going to pass it over to Ken. So.
Do you have anything to add, Ken?
Really don't have much to add. I appreciate Ed jumping on this. I do think it is an opportunity that we need to rebut. It's kind of a small, wonkish political world around water, but they haven't told us all the facts. And Ed's 2 years of research is what's gotten the facts out there amongst a lot of us that just aren't versed in this. So, no, I'm supportive of where Ed's going. I can't believe they won't publish something and give a little bit of leeway on the length. So, hopefully, I'm trying to work so I can sign on with Ed. I'd like to make it non-personal, but at the same time, we need to push back because we agree their focus has been too much solely on demand management.
Amen, Ken. Thank you, Ken. Glad to hear you're in support of this.
Yep. Thank you.
I should tell you I have sent copies of draft 2 to Becky Mitchell, Andy Mueller, John McLeod. So I'm not going to surprise the rest of the state. I haven't sent it to George and Stolp yet, but I will before I publish it. I'm not going to bushwhack them like they did us. So, and I do want to make sure we get our facts straight. It is a little bit dangerous going after Arizona. draft 2 is a little bit too personal. I was a little bit, a little angry when this started. I'm a little bit more deliberate now, and I do have a lot of people commenting, so we're going to try to not make it personal and just nail every one of these issues that we can. So
4 days is a good days to wait when you're angry and then address it. So, yeah, thank you, Ed. I appreciate that you're squared away with it.
And I appreciate the way you went back into that one commentary you got from, I don't know who I think it was a lady, sent you, wanted you to validate and go back and prove up on the 603 and some of those other things. You went back and got verification, especially of the threats of the lawsuit or taking everybody to the Supreme Court by Arizona. So you validated, you went back and backed up what you had said there, and that's great, man. That you can't argue with those facts.
Well, we're poking Arizona. They're going to see it, so we do need to be a little bit careful. But one of the key points here, I am going to include the quote from that paper so that it's obvious what Arizona did threaten to litigate. And they're threatening to litigate over Section 602, which is the release terms from Lake Powell. And that's important because you know what my favorite issue here is Section 603, right?
Exactly, man.
So,
that's our guarantee, Ed. That is our guarantee in this upper basin. Yeah.
Well, it's a little bit ambiguous, and we can't guarantee that the Supreme Court, if it goes to that, will agree that is our get out of jail of this compact jail card free thing. So, but I am going to directly juxtapose their litigation threat on 602 and point out that 603 was exactly the defense they should have used in 2005 to push back on that, and I don't think they did. So they better next time if we go there again. So.
Well, when they can go to renegotiate these new 2007 interim guidelines, that 603 paragraph had better be front and center for us.
I think Ken had his hand up.
Ken, do you?
Yeah, I would just throw in here too, one of our biggest things is we're talking about water leaders in Colorado. First and foremost, Colorado needs to step up and protect our Colorado River portions. And after that, we can consider demand management, but they've got the cart before the horse. Yeah. Once we define, our legal allocation, then we'll deal with it internally.
Perfect, Ken, perfect.
All right, any other questions, commissioners, before we move on?
Nope.
All right, Ed, you got a
Thanks,
green
Ed.
light, so
Yep.
go ahead and move forward. And keep us
Thank you
updated.
very much. I am going to start briefing the new commissioners. I do have their email. I'm going to start out with this op-ed because it's the best intro to what's going on here. So I'm working on that. And probably not bother you outgoing commissioners, but I do need to talk to the new commission about these water plan goals and measurable outcomes. There's going to be a bunch of controversy there next year, but I'll start with the new commissioners on that. And I wish you and Larry Don a happy retirement. I know you got a lot of stuff that you're doing and want to do, so I hope you've enjoyed your time as commissioners, and I hope you enjoy your retirement even more. So,
yeah. Thank you, Ed. Please keep me on your email list, though. I plan to follow this, whether I'm a commissioner or not. Please keep me on your email list.
I got to contact you. I think you changed it. I need to find your new personal email, but I will definitely do that. So,
yeah, I'd like that as well. Yeah. Very important.
definitely the plan. You guys are playing. I communicate to Phyllis and a lot of the other people. They're getting a lot of that stuff too, and you guys will be on the alumni list. So, and I will always value and cherish your feedback and comments.
Yeah.
Okay.
It goes both ways, Ed.
Thank you, Ed.
Thank you very much for your time.
Yep.
All right.
Thank you, Ed.
Okay, let's go to public lands. I see Derek Padilla from the United States Forest Services here. Welcome, Derek.
Good morning, Derek.
Is your forest getting some good needed snow?
Definitely, yes. We've done well these last couple of days, and then the other storm did all right as well. So it's been cold, so it's staying, it's sticking. So hopefully that continues on through the remainder of the winter here.
Yeah.
So based on that, I'll just start off with that then. Based on the precipitation that we're getting, we are starting to make the rounds as far as our condition-based road closures. So folks have been out the last couple of days assessing road conditions, and based on that, making decisions on what to close and what not to close. I don't have the list just yet. They're out making another assessment today. But once I get a list of roads that we've already closed, I'll definitely pass that on to you all. We did close all of our wildlife closure roads, the 504 below the dam, and then House Creek Road and the 241 road up by the head of Narragansett Canyon, in that area up there. Those have all been closed just based on the wildlife critical winter range closures. So those have been done as of December 1st, like I said. So any questions on that? Nope.
No.
At the request of the Dolores Watershed and Resilient Forest Collaborative, we've moved back the date by a week for the Salter EA release. I think last time I was here, I talked about looking at January 6th for the release, but now we're going to release it on January 13th. They just wanted to be able to have one more meeting prior to the end of the comment period. So to accommodate that, we pushed it back a week. So that'll be coming out here soon. Along with that, I did pass on to Shaq some information with regards to our estimates as far as road use. Those are definitely just estimates, but we're expecting about 17,400 loads. That's just for the which will impact the Dolores Norwood Road. On the other side, over towards Plateau in that area, they'll probably still go out the 514 down to Bradfield and out that way. But at any rate, we'll see more impact on that road once this project gets going. We're looking at an estimate of 9 loads per day, which doesn't seem too extreme. But there again, it's all going to be dependent on the operator, and we are going to be putting some limitations on weekend hauling and things like that, just especially when they're working in the Boggy Draw area, just because of the amount of recreation use that we get there. So because of that, during that, when they're working in those units, we'll probably see more traffic, per day, because it'll be limited to the week to be able to haul out of there and things like that. So at any rate, things are progressing, as far as our vegetation management
Derek,
project.
before you leave that topic there, I'd like to check with you on one thing. I know you charge the cattle haulers and other loggers a certain gravel knockoff fee for every load that they bring out down on Forest Service roads.
Mm-hmm.
You're doing the same, I assume, with Montrose Wood Products and their hauling. Is that correct?
Well, as far as the timber sale contract, we do collect surface rock replacement,
Right.
On that. So yes.
Right. So I would like for this commission and for you to keep a definite line item record of what you collect from the logging companies and the gravel, the knockoff dollars that you are getting from those haulers out of the forest. And I would hope that the new commissioners and everybody else would be in favor of making sure those dollars that you collect go back into those roads instead of moving them around to different places in the forest. I think those dollars should be spent on those roads where it's collected. And,
well, as we've discussed in the past, we have actually benefited more, from being able to move those dollars around than we've not.
Who's we?
Montezuma County, Dolores County, the Dolores Ranger District. Because funds that are collected elsewhere, when we have to make a project full, if we only have, $90,000 and the project's going to cost $150,000, we pull from that fund in order to make the project whole. So, there again, I can't make that promise because it's not my decision to make, for one. But at the same time, we could be shooting ourselves in the foot if we did commit to that because of having that ability.
So I actually had a thought about that. It's my understanding that all 25% proceeds Forest Service, like whatever you get, the Forest Service gets for the logging, as well as grazing fees, all of those things go, 25% of that goes back to the county. Am I correct on that?
For our standard timber sale contracts, yes. For a stewardship timber sale contract, no. So it depends.
Okay. I guess what I was getting at is, so we all know, living here all of our lives, that the biggest concern is going to be on the Dolores Norwood Road from Butler Corner
Gonna get beat
to House Creek, where we've started where we have the new chip seal,
Mhm.
because that road's the oldest that has less maintenance on it, and it's getting brittle and it's going to start falling apart. But I was wondering if there was some way that we could use that 25% fund, if there's a way that the Forest Service could maybe think about a kind of a pool of money from the proceeds of the timber sales to go to that portion of the road that I believe will fall apart
It's gonna get beat to death.
before the rest of it. Is that, anything like that ever been discussed? And maybe the county might even be willing, I don't know how much we get her, but if we was to pull our money to help, because I think we know what happened when Ken and Morgan years ago on CC, we had an old road like that.
Mm-hmm.
And it took 1 week to destroy it. So,
I mean, that's definitely on our radar as far as a concern, and, we've already put in, over on the Dolores County side, because, that's where the emphasis is right now, over $5 million in roads. And we're just gonna see that, continue, as we, continue to implement these projects.
Yep.
So, I'm not too concerned about the Dolores Norwood Road, and being able to maintain it, over the long term, just because we've made those investments and we plan to continue to make those investments. But we need to be able to be flexible in how we can fund that. So there again, back to your original statement, if we need to utilize surface rock replacement dollars, we need to be able to maximize how we use those dollars, which may mean, bringing in some from somewhere else, but then at some later date, being able to, reciprocate. And when the Pagosa Ranger District and Archuleta County, have a road project and they need some of those dollars, that we do the same for them. Because that's basically the way it works. There again, the last, since I've been here, I think we've actually been the beneficiary of those dollars and not a loss, if you will. And then the other, good thing to, or point to make is that, it might not necessarily go to the Dolores Norwood Road. There's a lot of roads out there that are going to be utilized for hauling, and, we're going to put those dollars, to where they're needed. So if Dolores Norwood Road is holding up, and we don't need to put any dollars there, but, the Boggy Draw Road, needs some attention. Even though we're going to be collecting dollars on the Dolores Norwood Road, we may need to put those over to the Boggy Draw to bring that up to spec. But when it all comes out in the end, overall, the residents, of Montezuma County and Dolores County are benefiting, because of these projects, because of the upgrades of those roads. I don't know if you've been up on, the 514 and the 504 since we've done all that work up there. And, I was out, on Hunter Patrol this year, and people were saying, they're still not real happy about the width. But we did expand the width, by the way, on that one, and we intend to maintain, at least an 18-foot road base there. But at any rate, people were saying, they hadn't seen the roads, so great out there, and really appreciated it. Whereas on like Ormiston, the 521 road, I just continue to get complaints about that road because it gets washboarded pretty quick. But that's where we're moving next. And then, we shouldn't have that complaint, for years to come.
do you think, Derek, because you're the decision maker, that it would be a fair statement to say that, because we've never had logging like this on this type of scale for a long time, so there will be additional dollars come in from that, that the majority of those funds would be spent on roads? Would that be a fair statement?
Yeah, I think that is a fair statement. I mean, most of what we're collecting now is just going right back into roads for the next area that we're going to be treating. Like I said, here in the last 2 or 3 years, we've already put in $5 million, all in Dolores County, but like I said, that's where the emphasis is right now. But as we continue to move that direction, then we're going to start concentrating on the roads in Montezuma County, with that same level of attention. We've made, a commitment, to the logging industry that's one of the things that we were going to do. And then you guys, assisted as well, with your resolution, allowing for overweight hauls on the county roads. But we have to upgrade our roads to accommodate that. And then, so far, our forest supervisor is the one who made that commitment, and she wants to stick to that commitment. So we're not backing off from that for the Ponderosa Pine type areas. It's specific to those areas. They have asked about other areas and said, no. We said we're going to concentrate on the Ponderosa Pine type. But at any rate, I do see that, yes, that's going to continue.
What was that, a 4 or 5 mile extension of that road? What was it, 514 you said, that goes up the switchbacks and all the way up on the top? Over there in Dolores County. Was that 4 or 5 miles? I know it's...
No, it was more than that.
Was it more than that?
Yeah, we did basically from the switchbacks all the way to the junction with the 512, the one that goes over to Glade.
Correct, and then you went farther to the north.
And then, on the 504, we went all the way up to Big Spring. So that extension, if that's what you're talking about there, we were going to end at about the Sukla cabin, but we decided just to go all the way to Big Water Spring there on that road. So that was, about 3 or 4 miles extra that we did.
Yeah, there was a lot of work done up there this fall.
Yeah, and then Tri-State, really shaped up the 509 road that cuts back over off the 504 towards the canyon there. So
Because of the new power line?
Correct. Yeah, so all those roads up there are in real good shape these days. All right, any other questions on that? No. And then we just awarded the 5 mile timber sale contract to Aspen Wallwood. That's up on Taylor Mesa in Montezuma County. Not sure when they're going to get started on that. That's another road that we put a lot of money into over the last few years. So that should be, I believe that's the last timber sale up there on Taylor Mesa for a while anyways. And and then we'll just continue working on the Lone Pine out in the Glade area. Once we get Salter, then we'll start moving that direction. Here in the next 2 or 3 years, we'll be working on that.
Do you, on the pine sales, do you have more than one bidder usually besides Montrose? Does Aspen Wallwood bid on those pine sales as well?
Yes, actually, and then also Ironwood.
Ironwood too.
Yeah. So those 3 entities are the big players, and then we also have some smaller operations that also will bid.
Does Stoner Top still do some of that?
They don't.
They don't?
No.
I don't think they're doing much anymore. I don't think a mass production of it, but...
Yeah, the last time I talked to Harold, they were
small.
getting most of their stuff off of private land.
Yeah, gotcha. But Ironwood's probably a pretty big player in that.
Oh yeah, they are definitely. They're between them and Montrose.
They're going at it.
Mm-hmm.
Some of the best timber in this country's seen in 30, 40 years.
Correct. Yep.
40 years since that plywood plant went down.
Yeah, and the land out there definitely needs it. So
boy, it does. It's going to be good.
Yes, it does.
Mm-hmm. It's going to be hell. I tell you, I admire the Forest Service for finally opening this up and getting those timber sales out there. And I know Beetle Kill played a big part in what you're doing, but nonetheless, you're doing other stuff other than that as well. So.
Yeah. Well, it was always there. We never slowed down, if you will. We just didn't have industry in place to really take advantage of it.
Well, there's nobody to take advantage of it. Yeah. That's right. They were all
now
gone.
It's here, and we're going to take advantage of it.
We're faced with a lot of lawsuits by
environmentalists. Oh yeah, hell yes.
That might come back.
Be quiet. Be quiet, Commissioner.
We're actually working real well with those folks. So
I think the logging industry within itself as a whole now is kind of started really to take back off, and I think.
Well, hopefully these NGOs and the environmentalists are looking at this as a crop, and there needs to be harvest of that stuff, and your healthy forests are going to be more healthy by having having them harvested and done in the right way, in the right fashion. I mean, crikey, it makes.
Maybe they
all
figured
makes
out how many spotted owls they burned up through forest fires. It took them a while.
They burned up some acres this year.
Yeah, they did.
All right, so that's all I had, and I just wanted to, tell you and Keenan, it's been a pleasure working with you the last 8 years.
Derek?
We
Yeah.
moved a lot of things forward, and
Yes, we have.
Yeah, so
Yeah, we've,
congratulations to you guys for
Yeah.
getting to take a step back and, like Ed was saying, be able to just be looking in and not have to be dealing with all the.
Yeah. Thank you.
Well, there are a lot of
appreciate
issues we've
that.
come to know that we're probably not going to lay down and completely forget about.
Sure.
We'll be doing it from the other side, the citizenry side, like we have out here with these gentlemen. So there's still always a way to give some input. But
Right.
yeah, it's been a good relationship, Derek, and we appreciate the way you've worked with us, and you've always been open to take a look at the other side of things, and I have appreciated that.
Well, same here.
Yeah.
All right.
Thank you.
Y'all have a Merry Christmas.
You have a
Yeah,
Merry
Merry Christmas.
Do you know, is Connie coming today, or?
James said that she was going to, and then
Haven't heard different? Yeah.
The roads are still kind of slick out there.
Yeah. All right.
She might be off
Which
the
is-
ditch in my fence.
She could, well, hopefully not.
What is it about that?
I don't know, man. It's like a magnet. It's like a damn magnet, man. It's like a car wreck magnet.
Well, until Connie gets here, I guess let's go to
Shack?
Shack Attack.
The shock
All right.
attack.
Start with the basics of my report. So, first of all, I know the commissioners have seen the news coming out of La Plata County about CJ's maybe having to close their door, the Wild Horse maybe having to close their door, and several other situations that are similar. So, while we're on live TV, I'd like to put the announcement out there that if to CJ's and Wild Horse and the Irish Embassy and others, that if La Plata County doesn't want your business, we'd love to find a place for you here in Montezuma County. I think we could put the Wild Horse over at the Purple Sage. I think
Absolutely.
the Millwood that closed down could be replaced with one of those restaurants. Nero's could too. And I would be happy to volunteer our planning department to help you jump through whatever hoops you need to get that done.
Great invitation, Shaq. I appreciate that. That's a great invitation. You're absolutely right.
Okay, moving on from that, we'll go into the budget, and just to, for the commissioners, you've reviewed the budget. We did make the adjustments that Keenan asked with the sheriff's office, and so that being said, I could go spreadsheet through spreadsheet again if you would like to, but basically what I think might be more useful than going spreadsheet by spreadsheet would be for me to adjust the PDF here and move this.
Shaq, I want to tell you, I appreciate you going to the sheriff and you and Phaedra discussing and carrying out what I had asked you to do on that sheriff's budget. I appreciate that. So
You're welcome.
I'm
And,
pleased
let
with
me
the
shrink
rest
this
of it.
a little bit more.
This just has to be posted now for the 2 weeks.
This has to be
yeah.
posted for 2 weeks so people can look at it.
But we should adopt our resolution today. Then
You can't adopt the resolution until people have had
Oh,
the
can't we?
chance
Has
to
to be
look
the
at it.
29th, or
So
whatever that
basically,
means.
this is the resolution that you passed last year, and then this is the appropriation of sums as you have everything this year, side by side. So
Shaq, I had one question, not
Shoot.
to trip this up, but I was looking at the telephone. You sent a spreadsheet with the phone. What was that on? The emergency 911 phone?
Correct.
You were only showing in the three options in the three options of 21, 22, and 23 a dollar surcharge on that. Did I miss something? I thought we moved that to $1.40.
It did go to $1. Actually, it was double. So it went from the 70 to 140.
To
but-
140.
but-
You're correct on that. I may need to edit that.
But in your spreadsheet, you're only showing
I'm
it as
showing
a
it as a
dollar. So,
buck.
yeah,
You're correct.
yeah, so,
She had
But-
initially had $1 as one proposal.
Right.
Remember,
That
she
was that
had
first
3
proposal we
different
talked about,
proposals,
yeah.
right.
Right.
And then after viewing what, it really wasn't going to accomplish
What
what they
needed to be
needed to
done
get
in
to
that-
for
in
that facility.
that E911 fund,
That's
right.
why we changed that.
Right. Okay,
So it
so,
is back to
so.
buck.
So I'll edit that and put it out, and then we'll
Th-
get it on the website
Thank
this
you.
afternoon.
I thought I was just correct, so thank you, Shaq.
And then I would like to let the public know as they look at this, because I'm sure they see the huge jump in the social services fund from 16 million to 21 million, that the county portion of that is $563,257.57. That is from the mill levy that you appropriate to them, and all of the rest of that is federal and state pass-through. So we have a new representative in the House of Representatives that controls the purse strings. Her name's Lauren Boebert, so if you want to reach out and talk to her about that, she's the one you would contact.
I just want to know how long our federal and state government can afford to keep pumping that kind of money.
Well, they ran out of money
That-
about $30 trillion
I know,
ago.
but their printing machine's
They-
still working, their printing press is still working.
Well,
Well,
you
what's
you
sad
may
is-
need to get me a better printer.
What's sad is when we first became commissioners 8 years ago, this budget was in the low 30s.
Yeah,
And it is
Exactly.
just,
boom, 51,575.
Well, general fund and capital fund are cut pretty good.
Yeah.
it's just sad that in lack of good management from federal government, marijuana stores bringing in people that are using the social services.
System.
And it's, boy,
And I know that the county doesn't participate in the marijuana sales, and some of the municipalities do, and the state does. But I wonder how bad you have to get yourself financially before you start thinking, maybe we need to sell drugs.
You know, Shaq? A lot of the others have, Shaq. In fact,
I know.
Dolores just now opened their town up in Grand Junction, who has had a moratorium on marijuana sales. They're going at it. They know the money's there, and they're willing to sacrifice whatever to get the revenue,
That was just the city, right?
Just the
Because
city,
everything
right.
around the county is,
Right, still
is-
under, just
is
the city of
capsule,
Grand Junction, yeah.
So unless there's any other
Crazy.
changes, I'll
man.
put that out, and then in 2 weeks, you guys can do the official vote on that.
Okay.
But I do want to reiterate our invitation to La Plata County businesses, and I will instruct the planning department to begin reaching out to them just in case they don't hear it through YouTube.
There you go.
that'd be good.
Good idea. Welcome them over here.
and we're gonna have more places south of town that might be
Gonna be
beneficial.
Places to start opening up.
Anything else on your report?
That's it. That concludes my report. Thank you.
Okay, let's go to county attorney.
So, and Mr. Atwater's here. I don't know if he wanted to add anything to this, but last week there was some discussion, and we'll call it evidence presented, about the RS 2477 rights of ways. And so, if you guys recall, back in 2018, we passed a resolution. It was numbered 8/2018, which really went through the history of 2477, the law, and roads and rights of ways. So what we did for today is we drafted Resolution 24/2020. Mr. Powers correctly gave me that resolution number, and it basically is just supplementing that 2018 resolution, and we are attaching as 3 exhibits. I don't know if you have those electronically, the 3 exhibits, Mr. Powers?
I
2
believe
tables
I-
and a map that show these
Which
rights
was-
of ways that were discussed
What was
last week.
presented to us last week.
Right, they're right there behind us, yeah. Mhm.
Do you have those, Mr. Dietrich? Mr. Dietrich's in the... Okay. So those actually, I don't have those printed out, so those need to go with this resolution if the
I've got some
commissioners
printed right there.
Right behind us here.
adopt it.
But do we physically have those?
Yeah, they should be in this.
Oh, were they in?
Yeah, the table's in there.
Oh, that's right, okay, I remember.
Mr. Atwater, all his citations of,
Okay.
public law, yeah, they're all in there.
Maybe I'll let Mr. Roth and Mr. Dietrich just talk about what's in those two tables and the map. I think Mr. Roth had a lot to do with the map. Just generally, what you see in this resolution 2420 is referencing and incorporating our resolution from 2018 and saying that you all have considered this evidence and believe it's appropriate to assert that these two are rights of ways. And then we've got these three exhibits.
That are attachments to it.
Yeah,
Right.
we'll let the man in black.
Okay. Okay, so what we have before you is an inventory of the roads that we feel are historic public right-of-ways on both BLM as well as United States Forest Service lands. Those are reflected in the map that we have before you here, which is an overlay over the county road map. We also, in association with that, which is Exhibit 1, we also have Exhibit 2 and Exhibit 3, which are tables which include the routes that are indicated on the map. Those routes indicate a route name, an alias. In other words, what other name do we know that route by, if anything. In some cases, some of these routes have no name nor route number assigned to them. Right. So in that case, they're referred to as Jeep Road or something similar to that. We have the length associated with those routes, and we also have the beginning point and end point of each one of those route segments, and they're identified by point of beginning latitude, point of beginning longitude, and the same for the ending point as well.
Yeah.
So I think that
you know what? As we pass this resolution, what I'm hoping this will do, and with a precedent we will set, is that through our road department or road and bridge department, we can, because I think this is a statement stating we claim these roads as Montezuma County roads and trails. And I think we need to get out on the forest and the BLM and the Canyon of the Ancients with a marker, a Montezuma County marker of some sort, and start posting these roads and saying, this is the, whatever trail is on that legend, this trail, the Jeep Trail number 614, is a Montezuma County road, and we start acting as if these are our roads, not sitting back and waiting for the Forest Service or the BLM to say, well, we're not so sure you're right about this. We don't know about this. You know, we're going to have to go through the court. I think we need to take an affirmative step and start marking these roads and trails as Montezuma County rights of ways, and start doing that, and make the Forest Service and the BLM show us that we're not correct on these RS 2477 roads. That we're making a statement, we're claiming these, we've researched them, we've got maps, we've got all the backup information on it. This is a Montezuma County trail now, or right-of-way, or however we want to designate it.
Regardless of those signs, though, and I'm not discouraging those signs, but regardless of those signs, even I would argue, regardless of the resolution, these were already Montezuma County rights of ways. I think that one of the purposes for the resolution is to memorialize it, document, just have a public record that we did hereby declare that they are. But really, our position is they always were.
Oh, yeah.
And one of the wins that we just recently had was what you reported last week on Road 41 in Mancus, because that was
exactly established a 60-foot right-of-way. Absolutely.
And now we have that documented in our history books that say, hey, we did win this. It is there, and I think this just, is one step farther to say, hey, these really truly do exist.
What I hope this will enable us to do is to take some of these roads and trails and stuff that have been closed by the Forest Service, have been closed by the BLM, say, wait a minute, no, we're going to open these back up. No, you can't close the Montezuma County right-of-way through here. This is county, and we will determine whether it's open or closed. And where they went up there and tore up on Hay Camp, that road, that old historic wagon route all the way up to Rico, where they went in and absolutely destroyed it. I think that's one of the first places we go back in and say, we're going to reestablish that as a right-of-way, and you Forest Service have no right to destroy that right-of-way, and we're going to reopen that thing.
That particular road is, the Forest Service, it was called the Laisel D study. They found that through a 2 or 3 year long study that they conducted themselves, that right-of-way, they designated it as a historical cultural monument.
Yeah.
And that's how important they saw it then.
And still destroyed it.
Right.
Yeah. It's insanity. Well, I think this
So
is where
can
we
we
start
do
now
this
to-
we can do this resolution now with these 3 attachments?
Yep.
As the map and or the chart, or the list of.
Tables.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
You
So
know, thank God for COVID, because all the opposition that we used to have on the.
Ain't here.
Yeah.
Never let a good crisis go to waste.
Thank you, Dennis. Beautiful.
So do you have anything else you want to present, James, or?
Well, I have my report yet. We can do that, I can continue on with
Okay.
that, or.
Let's do the
or we can it
resolution
later.
first.
Yeah.
We should probably go ahead and finish this, this piece of it, though, at this point.
Okay.
So I have it in front of me, or would you, Keenan, I mean.
Yeah, let me
This is
go
kind
out
of
on
more-
this one. Let
Well,
me get
it's-
on this shield.
It's more of,
Yeah.
I mean, you guys have worked
I would-
a lot longer on this than.
I would like to move that Resolution 24-2020, supplement to the Resolution 8-2018, county rights-of-ways established over public lands under RS 2477 as public rights-of-way and the public highways.
Second.
Motion second to approve Resolution 24-2020, supplement to Resolution 8-2018, county right-of-ways established over public lands under RS 2477 as public right-of-ways and public highways. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Sign both of
I think now we start treating them as if they were ours, and not, I mean, we,
them. How many do we need signed, Kim?
Just one.
Just one? Okay.
We also have a map, with a signature block on it.
oh, our map, signature on the map? Okay.
And then the charts.
Does that need to be in blue, or can we do black?
It doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter?
Thank you, gentlemen, for all of the work you did on all of this.
Thank you, Commissioners. I think this is historic. We'll be the one county in the West that's claimed our rights.
Yeah, absolutely. We appreciate all the work you've done to get us to that.
I went up GPS. Oh, you did? Yes. And I just set it up, so I got the coordinates. I didn't save them. So from that one road up, it's a little bit off. And I'll get that as soon as I get up there.
Get it, yeah.
As soon as I get up there and do it right.
This is just the beginning
But I
right
got
here.
pictures of the signs on the tree.
You understand, Commissioner Artell, that if there's a fight that comes after that, you and I can watch from YouTube. There is a little bit about being a lame duck. Give him hell, boys, give him hell.
Well, I just think it's time for us to start acting, instead of waiting for them to come and say, well, where's your proof? How do you know? Well, show us where the court said it. No, we're saying this. If you wanted any different than that, you're gonna have to show us.
Yeah, exactly.
It's huge. It's balanced.
Thank you, Dennis.
So in favor.
You bet. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
There's
Mr.
no
White?
precedent except for that jurisdiction. So only is the president of Montezuma County.
Oh, my gosh.
Or Dolores can't sign.
No, you're right, that code, there's always a silver lining. Like Ed said, there's always a silver lining to every damn tragedy.
If they appeal.
There's some good stuff with it, too.
And we win the appeal.
Yeah. Thank you, James. James, and you've done an awful lot
Oh,
of
yes,
work
he has.
with Dennis and them on this. We appreciate all the efforts you've done. You've kept us on track, and we appreciate it.
The Southwest sites to it.
It's good stuff.
Gosh, you're doing good.
Hungry.
I am too, actually.
And we got a buyer.
Who's buying?
You.
Oh, me? What are you talking about? No, I got to skip mine. I got to skip mine, didn't I?
No, Candelaria was last week.
I bought last week and you were
You're gonna get me
gone.
confused if you screw up the
We
alphabet.
can just bypass over that. I guess it is retail.
Didn't take very long.
You guessed correctly. Ding, 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 ding.
All right, what do you have additional?
So I want to follow through with my report. The next thing I have is the proposal from OTAC for the for
Mesa Path.
doing the design work on the Cortez side for the Paz Mesa Verde Trail. And so what we have, and we've seen this before, this came back all the way back from June. But this is the proposal that we were presented with, and this will include 5.5 miles of shared use path from the Montezuma County Fairgrounds to the Mesa Verde, a pedestrian underpass beneath Highway 160 near the fairgrounds, 3 crossings of McElmo Creek and its unnamed tributary, 3 areas of retaining walls, one adjacent to Sleeping Ute Mountain Rest area, and the other 2 near Mesa Verde, and also the crossing of the Highway 789 bridge. And as we went through this, we matched that up with the MMF-OF funds as we were selected as recipients for that. And as we went through this process with OTAC, we agreed that we wanted to reserve $50,000 in contingency funds that would be focused for use, if we run into any right-of-way problems, things like that. But that $50,000 would be held in reserve until the county specifically authorized payment out for something that was unforeseen. Gotcha. So the budget and the proposed agreement reflects that. So the proposed agreement is for the amount of $478,850, and we've noted specifically that $50,000 of that should be set aside and not be expended unless we run onto something that we all agree that we need to spend it on.
So you said, did you say 470?
$478,850.
It says 459?
Yes, I'm sorry, that was, I sent you guys the wrong one. That was a draft that I'd been working on, and that was the amount of the MMF-OF fund.
That was, that's what we received in June
That
or
was-
July.
Well,
When
actually,
we
I think
awarded that.
we got the approval back in April.
Yeah.
I got the notice to proceed last week, so.
Right.
Yeah,
It
so
has
we've
been
been
a
kind
long
of sitting
time
on this
coming,
for a long time at this point.
Is this the correct one now?
Yes, this is the correct one. It should be 478,850. That is the correct one. Yeah.
Okay.
Any discussion, commissioners?
No. Go get it.
I think
Okay.
we
Go
finally
get it.
have it put together now.
Yeah.
Now we can actually go with the OTAC and get that.
We need a
squared away
motion
so we
on
can
this,
get it
John?
finished.
Yeah.
Let me get back to, everybody can hear me. I set this up the same way that we had it set up the last time. And so basically what we did is we authorized the county administrator, who at the time was Melissa,
Right.
to go ahead and sign this.
Yep.
We can go ahead and do that the same way this time if you guys all,
That's
if
fine.
that's all
I think
okay with
that's smart,
everybody.
yeah.
And we'll just let Shaq, not Melissa,
take
but
care of it.
Shaq
Okay,
sign.
yeah.
Okay.
In agreement.
So I guess we don't need a signature at this point, but I do think we need the motion.
You at least need a motion, and 2 of you have to agree that Shaq can sign it.
Okay.
So, will you scroll that down, Shaq? I can't.
General services agreement between.
Right, so I move that we accept the general service agreement between Montezuma County, number 23783 for the Paso Mesa Verde Phase 2, and with OTAC.
Second.
Motion and a second to approve the general service agreement, project number 23783, an agreement between Montezuma County, the Path to Mesa Verde project, and OTAC, and authorization of the funding being approved, signature with Shaq Powers, the county, Montezuma County administrator. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay. Thank you, gentlemen. Also want to give you an update on the Manka side. I did hear from Central Lands Highway Division today, and they said that they are ready to move forward with their agreement on that. So they've got their funds allocated and are ready to set up the MOU and agreement with us.
Good.
And I tried to encourage them to hurry up. So hopefully they'll have that here sometime before the first of the year. And so that would help us to encumber the Colorado Beautiful GOCO grant. We should be able to spend those dollars out. The ideal thing, and we're still kind of talking about how this might happen, ideal thing would be just to transfer those funds. We just send it from one government agency to the other. It doesn't sound like they're going to be able to let us work that easily on things, so we'll probably still have to work through a reimbursement sort of a process. It's essentially the same deal, but it just takes more attention and more steps along the way. So, you know how government works.
More
if you can do it the easy way or the hard way,
yeah.
why do it the easy way?
Why do it simple when we can make it complex? Yeah, come on, don't do that.
But we'll continue to try to network with them on that and make sure we get that moving forward. Did want to let the commissioners know that I've been working with the Rangeland Stewardship Committee on the rebuttal to the determination of possible adverse effect out there for the Flowdine and Yellow Jacket allotments. And so I will try to have a letter put together before the end of the year on that we can send off. And really, we just want to try to stay engaged. We initiated that Section 106 process. We sat through that first meeting, and it's probably a good time to go ahead and provide a letter that gives us some, our position, and we relay that to them on this. So I'll try to have that letter here.
I'm afraid with SHPO being involved in that now, man, it's a dead duck. They're going to see to it that never goes back to range cattle. I think they've finally pulled the last ace out of their sleeve and said, no, here SHPO's going to have to, and they're going to make sure there's enough cultural sites out there that have been disturbed by whatever that they're never going to let them back in there. So.
Well, it sure feels like that's the way it's going.
Enviros, yeah.
Yeah, but we'll challenge them every step of the way.
No, we keep fighting, keep bucking them, but I'm here to tell you.
Yeah.
They pulled in their big hitter.
Yeah. Well, they're sure trying to. So.
Yeah.
Which in the end will downgrade the ground.
Oh yeah, sure. They don't give a damn about that.
Yeah. Then the last thing I had was a request for a photo op. So we did get the Scenic Byways Award for the outstanding public partnerships. And so the request was if we could get a picture of Larry, Don, and Keenan holding this award. We'll. You guys mind doing a photo op?
Why? Shoot. Larry Don just got his new face peel on. I had mine on. I'm over COVID. Hell yeah, we're ready for it.
Maybe over here by the.
Over here. Hell yeah.
That can be part of the caption.
Yeah.
New face peel and.
COVID battle, COVID beater, all that stuff. Yeah. Come here, Mr. Sue. Let's put your hand on that. Yeah, there we are.
I don't even know what it is.
It's the award Scenic Byways for Dunsand Canyon, man.
Actually, this is associated with the project that the Flume project.
Oh, this was the Flume, gotcha, okay. I was thinking by the picture it was maybe down the Sand Canyon parking lot and all that stuff.
The picture is.
Yeah.
We were kind of a little bit taken aback by that.
Because Jim was all part of that.
Yeah, but he wasn't part of the Flume deal.
I was not part of the Flume.
Are you good?
I'm okay.
Are you doing a video or what are you doing?
Now she wants a 2-minute statement from both of you.
Give us a picture of Sand Canyon.
Yeah, I don't know. It's not backwards as that, Jesus.
So James, did you award this to us, or did it come from some other?
No, this came from Federal Lands Highway Department. Yeah, this isn't my. No, I would have had Don as our official certificate maker, so I would have had him do it.
Nice. Very good.
Okay, gentlemen, I think that concludes my. My
Thank you, James.
Thank you, James.
You bet.
Good job.
All right, we'll go to the county commissioners report. Would you like to go first?
Sure, I absolutely would. I've been in COVID isolation. I haven't done anything. I've been on a couple of Zoom meetings, and that's all I've done.
And now for the book writer, Commissioner Candelaria.
I brought my notebook up front with me today, so I didn't have to reach into my backpack. And I'll make it as brief as possible. But Wednesday after the meeting, we already talked about the change order that we're dealing with, and I'll follow up with that. For Kim's office, met with Kent and Joe Wednesday afternoon, just briefly here. Shaq and I did, kind of looking at our committees, because with you two leaving, we have some committees that we discussed to pick up the, what you guys are leaving, and so it was a pretty good discussion. Got their phone emails set up, just got some technical stuff, things set up for them, their iPads and so on and so forth, so we can start the process of the transition as things start to move forward.
Hopefully those boys can hit the ground running. Yeah, I mean, you bet. That's good.
Well, and I mean, I know that I was drinking out of a fire hose when I started, and I think the fire hoses went from 1 3/4 to 3 inch. So I think they're gonna have a lot to.
You're just trying to get a head start.
To get a head
Good
start.
idea.
So it's we'll continue that and try and get them up to speed on as much as possible as we jump into this COVID thing and start dealing with it, farther. Thursday, had our transportation meeting. Sarah Hill is our new chair, and I will be the new vice chair of the Southwest Transportation meeting, which is actually a pretty good deal. I think gives us over here in Montezuma County just a little bit more of a voice, although I think we do, and we have had a good working relationship with CDOT and what we're doing over there. Cortez reported that their new Hawkins signal is now online. I think it went online last Thursday night, or they were testing it. But the biggest part of the discussion was the $590 million that were in the projections for their projects over the next 3 years, and we're going to fall right now, just anticipated, and this was off of the first 2 months of this year because of COVID. By locking things down, people not moving, just those taxes not being out there, we're going to have a $71.3 million shortfall over the next 3 years. So it's going to be, we're going to have a lot to work through as far as what, I think you were there at one of the last meetings, Keenan, when we, established 491 as being one of the major corridors.
Major cargo, and I hope, Jim, as you proceed through the TPR and stay in that position to become chair of that you continue to remind CDOT of the Farmington Hill $99 million expenditure that they did there, and that they better start focusing some of their money over here, because this road over here, it's not going to hold up with the traffic that's on that, and that little 2-bit overlay they did on that. Next couple of years, it's going to get beat out again, and they need to take a real serious look at 491 about more passing lanes, better asphalt, better road construction. And if they can spend $99 million over there on that dadgum Farmington Hill, they can damn sure spend some tens of millions of bucks over here on 491, because there's a lot more freight and a lot more 18-wheelers going up this road than are ever going to come over that Farmington Hill.
Which I think, as we now have it identified as a red line on that map through the TPRs, I think hopefully we'll be able to move a lot more funding over here. And then speaking of the $99 million project over there, they invited us all actually on Wednesday to go over there to do a walkthrough with that, to look at the upper section already. They've got a large portion of that dirt work completed, so I'm going to go try and do that tour with CDOT on Wednesday.
I got to see that just while I was just over in that area.
Oh, good.
That road that goes from Ignacio, that cuts over to 550.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, it's moved a lot of dirt.
So they've moved a lot of material.
I think they were touting it was it'll be one of the largest volume dirt moving projects CDOT's done, at least in this area, maybe not in the state. Yeah. Millions and millions of yards of.
I don't think it'll compete with the I-70 expansion now, but down here in this region, it's a huge undertaking. The bridge structures are, they did have some slides, and the bridge structures are coming up nicely. The abutments are coming up, so they're going to take us and kind of give us an overall view of that entire project.
Yep.
Later that
The
afternoon.
bridge to nowhere is finally gonna get to go to somewhere, ain't it?
It is. The bridge is to the future now.
Yeah, the bridge. Nice.
So that's why we're calling no longer the M&M, we're now talking about Loves.
Loves. That's
So-
that's our love spot down there.
Yep,
That's a
that's
love spot
correct.
in Montezuma County.
Are we
Um,
still,
Also
Yeah, we're still
attended,
live.
also attended later that afternoon with CDOT and the Lewis Ariel School. James, part of the principal of the school out there, and CDOT had agreed to, they did a traffic speed, not necessarily a study, but a review of that speed. The speed that on 491 at that intersection is still warranted for 65 miles an hour. But what they are going to do at U is they'll put a radar across there so that it'll pick it up and put 2 beacons on the north and southbound coming. So when somebody comes up to you, whether it's a bus or somebody turning onto the highway, it'll flash that beacon with an advisory cautionary warning of 55 mile an hour. Now, it's not an actual speed reduction, but when that sign flashes, it should be.
It's like coming into the intersection on County Road L down there on
Correct,
491.
yeah.
You get that flashing sign.
You get that
says
flashing
you're
sign.
approaching a dangerous intersection, so.
Right, so it'll be, something that's visual, that people can see, that they realize that somebody's coming out of you, and it should work out,
And they've got
pretty good
A&D
for the school.
lanes there. That's a great intersection. They've
They
rebuilt
do.
that one because that was a truck route for Kinder Morgan, and CDOT rebuilt that. They've got A&D lanes and everything there, so yeah. that's-
Correct. And then they also finished their guardrail that CDOT paid 50% of that for the school, and that was placed, CDOT helped them engineer it so that if a crash was to occur, where was the best place to put that guardrail so that it somewhat protects that playground.
Yeah.
So I think the school did a good job, and I think CDOT did a good job of working with them and trying to find some solutions to try and get that a little bit more visual for the school out there at U. Let's see, last night at our meeting, and John Whitney was actually on there who works for Michael Bennett. And he reported that the new proposal is going to be more into a split package. So there's 2 chunks to this package of that $908 billion that I reported on last week. Well, they've split it, so they're going to go 748 billion will be the larger package, and then the rest will remain, into the smaller package, and seeing whether a bipartisan support will be accomplished for this or not. Talked to Patrick with DOLA about how that money is going to get passed through. And a lot of the business relief is only for the counties that are in red and or in purple, which I'm glad we're not there. So
Amen.
it really doesn't affect us
That much anyway.
really at all. So, and that's where we want to be anyway. And the last thing that Patrick stated, we talked about new commissioners throughout the counties of the people that were on the call. And I didn't realize it, but DOLA actually has a program to actually help those elected officials as how we work through DOLA, with DOLA, and how that goes about. So as I start this transition or work this transition, I'll actually get that to the 2 new incoming.
Is CCI still offering the new commissioner?
They are.
Training up in Denver and stuff, so.
It's not going to be.
It's going to be a Zoom training?
I think it's just going to be training via
yeah.
Zoom, but I don't think it, which obviously they'll have to sign up for that, which we talked about that a little bit also,
Yeah.
so.
Okay.
Jim, did you ever get one of those commissioner handbooks, and does CCI still hand those things out?
Sure
to
do.
Commissioners?
I do.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
But I went up there for the 3 days.
Right, I would hope they would mail that down here to Shack or to Montezuma County and have you guys distribute that handbook to them.
They'll probably send a PDF.
Yeah.
And it's a little outdated, but I think it's helpful.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Very helpful.
Yeah.
So they're going to try to, do their best to continue, and I'll work with them, obviously as much as I can to help them get up to speed as quickly as possible, because I know the situations are much different than, I feel very blessed and fortunate that I had the situation to deal with that I had to, and these two gentlemen are not going to have the
Yeah, they're
have the
not
same.
gonna meet the,
I think so.
except for a pitcher.
Yeah,
Brazil.
yeah, they're getting kind of nixed out of some really good stuff, real beneficial stuff.
You know, one of the other,
Hopefully by summer, they'll have for the summer conference, so you guys can start getting together again. And
boy, I sure hope so, with the, with the potential of the vaccines being out there, that
ought to be
we
starting to
can-
put the brakes on this damn COVID
And
stuff.
then, I think they're doing the legislative conference. Is it gonna be Zoom as well?
Yeah.
I'm
In January.
going to imagine, well, that'll start
March.
towards the,
Oh, in March.
yeah, it'll go into March.
Yeah.
I did talk to CDOT again also at the TPR meeting, and asked if there was any funding available that we could utilize for the slip down County Road G. Julie is looking at, the traffic engineer, at the crash on that section of road, and, potentially there might be some. I've asked Steve now on the sheriff to also get any crash data that he can, get it over to the engineer in Durango, so that we can seek funding to help that get
yeah.
pushed through.
Yeah, see if we can get a little CDOT money to help fix that road, yeah.
And that's all I have.
Okay.
I just have, we received a couple of letters from, I don't know if they were coaches but it had to do with, is it Shasta? If I'm saying that right.
Chassa.
Yeah, the state athletic.
The state athletic shutting down the sports. We had the sports. They were held off until January, and those letters were great letters. To the two people that wrote those letters that are in support of reopening our sports and helping with this mental crisis with our children, I would like to just reach out to you that I am 100% behind you, and believe that we need our kids back in those sports. So hopefully your letters will make a difference. And then I know that Shaq, you had talked about today CCI has at 2 to 2:45 a presentation on that five-star program that they're doing in Mesa County. Read about that before just because I think it was sent out to us through, I'm not sure where we got it actually, but anyway, that was implemented by Mesa County, and now the governor's considering maybe that being a statewide program. My 2 cents is that government telling people what to do is what's got them into this mess. And reading that five-star program, you got to do all these different things, and then our health department would go and would sign off approval on the business to if we were to turn to red. And I really don't like the idea of more government intrusion on people's private or personal property rights, and I like the model of Weld County, whereas you personal responsibility and do what you think is best for your business. So I don't know what'll happen when we turn to red, but again, I've stated this.
Hopefully we don't.
Yeah, that's what I'm hoping.
Hopefully we don't.
But I would just like to tell the 28,000 citizens out there that, for me personally as a commissioner, that the colors, if they are not red, white, and blue, I don't really care what our governor shoves down our throat as far as the color. That the red, orange, purple, pink, or a yellow polka dot bikini, I could care less of the color. You run your business as you see fit.
Yeah.
That's all I have.
And I actually will attend that meeting tonight. Apparently they have a school board meeting tonight too, so.
About sporting activities?
Well,
or
I don't
it won't be
know.
all
I'm
just
sure
that,
it's
but
probably
going to be one of the issues.
on the
Yeah.
issues, so. And I do agree. I think that for them to cancel this season, I mean, I want to say Mancus and Dolores both went through their seasons, correct?
They went through football. Now they're talking about not having any wrestling and not having basketball until much later.
So
I think that, again, what person did not know that viruses increase in the middle of the winter? And, I mean, if you're not a parent, if you've lived on this earth for a little while, you understand that every
When
winter
illness comes.
you're going to have an increase of flu and viruses.
Yep.
And I don't care what kind of virus, but it's just the way that it works. We're inside more. And I just don't understand when I read that that MCHS was one of the only ones. They vied for spring sports and all the other schools vied for fall sports. Who are we going to play?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this is about makes as much sense as it's 15 degrees outside,
Have
and
we,
and
thought
the
of-
city of Cortez is fast-tracked and outdoor eating.
Eatery, yeah.
Who?
Have we thought about the concussions that come from playing football in February? When your helmet hits the frozen
Yeah.
field?
Yeah, it's blows me away. Let's quit
So-
acting like children, and let's open up our schools and let's let our kids get back to a normal life. That's all I have.
Well, I would move that we adjourn.
Yep, we got public comment there.
Public
I'm
comment?
sorry.
Anybody like to public comment?
I'm sorry.
Well, I guess,
No, there's no public comment.
boy, the
so
place
we'll
is
go
full of
back to
people. The place is
Commissioner
full of
Candelaria.
people. They just don't
I
want
would
to
move we
talk.
adjourn.
Second.
Motion
Oh,
and a second.
I think
wait
you
a
got a
minute.
public
Wait,
comment.
we embarrassed him into coming up.
You did.
We'll hold off on that motion.
I don't know how many more meetings you guys got.
Couple of more. We got
Two more in
Two more.
December and one in January.
one in January, yeah.
Well, I'll take this opportunity anyway. I want to express my thanks to this whole commission, and two of you, especially the years that you've been serving, and the years you've learned. I tell you, you guys have put together what I would say is the best county commission I've ever attended and watched over and dealt with over the many, many years. I've worked with county commissions in 3 different states and over the years, and there has been none, including the ones previous here,
Yeah,
that would surpass or even equal what you guys as a committee represented me as constituent in this county. You have set I'll say a precedent in many ways. One of them is the character and being able to really address issues from a proactive standpoint instead of just reacting to whatever the squeaky wheel is. And really appreciate it. And you set a stage for the new ones that's coming in. And Jim's got a job working with them, and it's going to, hopefully, this will even increase and even be a better commission.
Yeah.
But that's, you've set a pretty high standard. And I want to thank you. Really appreciate it being with you.
Thank you, Dexter.
Thank you.
Yep. We've appreciated your input too, Dexter, over the years. You brought some pretty insightful stuff to us, so we've appreciated you too.
Commissioner Candelaria?
I now will move we adjourn.
And I will second that again.
Motion is second to adjourn. All those in favor?
Aye, aye.
Aye.